sometimes it's not always good for policies to be race neutral. So, and I know that that's a different way of thinking about it. But when we look at the Equal Pay Act, for example, the Equal Pay Act should not be race neutral because of the data that you just gave. Because with Black women, with their unemployment rate being twice as high as white women, to have a race neutral Equal Pay Act is just off balance for African American women. So basically what can happen is I can, as an African American woman, I can have a claim against a white man or a Black man, but we know oftentimes we are passed over and paid less than even white women, but you have no claim under the Equal Pay Act for that. Now, some states have passed Equal Pay Acts on the state level and have included the race component to compensate for that disparity.
So when we hear you say, I can have a claim against a white man or a Black man, I see race in that and gender. So when you say a race claim, can you tell us a little bit more like what you mean by that?
Yes, so you're not bringing under the Equal Pay Act, if a white male were paid more than me, I'm not bringing the claim because he's a white man. I'm bringing the claim because he's a man. So I can have a claim against anyone that is of the opposite gender. And a man can have a claim if he's paid less than a woman under the same act. So it's all about gender, and race is not taken into consideration. But when you look at the problem that we're trying to solve the problem of that data. So we're looking at that data and we're saying that Black women, their unemployment rate is twice as much as white women. And also when you look at equal pay data, Black women are still at the bottom. So it's almost as if policymakers are ignoring all of the problems and they're only willing to address some. And even here in Mississippi, where we have been trying to push an Equal Pay Act on the state level, there are two versions floating around. One version actually addresses that, but when it's time for Black women to reach out to white allies, the white female allies refuse to support the one that addresses the inequities of Black women. And so a lot of times our white allies in the fight for what we're trying to fight for ourselves actually hamper us from being able to get legislation and policies passed that will address everybody's inequities.